Okay. Thank you for your explanation about work and the language and the all stuff about the coming here in German. Let's move about how people adapt here in German. My question is, what do people usually misunderstood about their life in German?
I have in the past 12 months I have done several little documentaries about migrants that have arrived, and 10 years after this influx of Syrian refugees from Syria, there were a lot of discussions going on, and we did little films on their situation and how they made it. We found the ones we looked at here, those were success stories. So how did they do it? They came here as real refugees. They were accepted for the time being. Now there's this discussion whether they want to go back or not, but they are not enforced to go back. So they have a status that they can decide for themselves. Those that really made their way into this German society, they use several paths that will help you in the beginning. It's first of all, of course, language courses that you're entitled to if you're accepted as a refugee, as these people from Syria all were. So you get for free a language course. Others, they will have to pay for that. So that can be very expensive. And what really helps in Germany is that we have a lot of groupings. Maybe, Gloria, you can help me in translating what is a Verein, like a Sportverein. How should we translate that to English? We have people coming together to sing. We have people coming together to dance. We have people coming together to play sports, football, soccer, basketball, tracks, chess. We have Germany is full with these little groups of people that share the same interest. And this is always a very good option. One of the guys we portrayed after 11 years of living in Germany, he's become a soccer player in his free time. This is not on a professional level, so he's not playing for Bayern Munich, but in his community, he is within this group of hundreds of young men who play soccer, who play football. So this is a brilliant way of really finding friends and beginning to get access to this society, this new world that you have entered as a migrant. So this is one of the big recommendations. We also have firefighters. We have professional firefighters and we have volunteer firefighters. And every community in Germany has these. So if you really want to be accepted in your new environment and you feel that you can handle it, then become a volunteer firefighter. This will bring you to German families, German friends immediately. So these are ways of managing, the first obstacles of getting to know people. Because in Germany, as I told you before, the weather tends to be cold, but also the people are concentrated on their own life, on their families, and they're not looking for their new neighbors coming in. And most of the time, you will need to do the first step and to be accepted. And don't expect the Germans to come and knock on your door and say, what can I do for you? How can I help you? They are probably, 100% involved in their own life, and they might not be aware of the need that someone has right next to them. So this is something you should be aware of. But if you manage to handle this, and if you manage to find one of the ways that I hinted at, you will be very quickly accepted.
And please, I would like to say something on the same point. I think I am married to a German, and I have a lot of family friends who are Germans. And what I realized with Germans is they really like when you can talk their language very much. And whenever you make the first step into a German's life, then you guys can do something. But if you wait that this person will come to you, then you will wait. Maybe you will wait forever. So the thing I can just say to my fellow Africans or migrants, I think we distance ourselves so much from Germans and say, we are not Germans, we are not Germans. But how do you like to live in a house that you don't like the owner, but you like to live in this house? How? We should love the Germans because they have, first of all, they have welcomed us. Here we are living in peace. We Houselanders, we migrants, we are the ones who are fighting. We are the ones who are bringing so many problems in Germany. But the Germans are settled there, they are listening to us and they are ready to help. For example, whenever I speak to a Germany and I say, "Hallo, guten Morgen, sprechen Sie Deutsch?" Yeah, but when I will speak my English, then he will or she will answer me again in Dutch. But when I speak my Dutch, though it's not good, then he or she will correct me and will help me always. Wherever he will see me, even at my place of work, will try to help me to speak, to better my speaking. So please, let's mingle with the Germans. They are like now our fathers, because this is a home. Look, the Germans, they have a home, but they have given the bread that they have decided they can share with the neighbors. So we are the neighbors. So we have to sit with them. They will help us so much. Another thing is the group he mentioned, I heard from a friend in Berlin. He's also coming from Kenya. He said they have small groups where they practice like learning together German language. They do some things, and these groups, there is Germans, there is Houselanders, there is migrants. So in the course of the day, when you practice with someone who knows and he explains to you what you are doing wrong or what you are supposed to do, it's very much easy. You get many friends, you get the opportunities. They have, maybe they know if there is a place of work, new jobs, they know of something that is happening, they'll let you know. But if you keep quiet, if you lock yourself, then you will not get the information. You will not get the help, because nobody is going to help you when they don't know that you need a help. So kindly, migrants, my fellow Africans, my fellow migrants, please, let's open up. Let's struggle together. Let's talk. Communication is everything in this life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for explanation again. I can have one more question. What are something which is simple for German to do, but it is very difficult for foreigner here? Can you tell us maybe something and give us an example?
Well, I can say this only from the German side, but I can imagine where the problems are. For instance, medical assistance, expressing what you need. If you don't have the language and the terms, this might be difficult. Dealing with the administration in your community, getting, permits. So if you want to open up a shop, if you want to establish a small company of your own. This is probably something that will take a lot of nerves and time and energy, but yes, it will be necessary. German life is very regulated. There are many rules, things. If you want to open up a restaurant, anything with food, there's a special focus, and you will have visitors from the inspection coming from your community every month. It's not as easy as taking your cart and the mdafu, the coconut, and put it on the side of the street, and then you start selling the coconut you have picked from the tree. Now, here you cannot do that. Even if we have fruits on the trees, no coconut, but a lot of apple, cherries, strawberries, stuff like that. We do have these, but you cannot just take them and sell them on the market. No, everything is regulated over here, and this will be difficult for many that come here, that are new here and not accustomed to all of these regulations. So try to find someone who has done this before, and he will give, or she can give you the help that you will need and the support that you need to cope and get along with all of these regulations. There's a way through, and many have successfully managed to go this way, but in the beginning it will look quite difficult and complicated. There's also something I would like to add to what Gloria contributed. I mentioned before that Germany is not a country with the big resources. We don't have oil, we don't have gas, we don't have gold or silver, platinum, whatever. This here you cannot find it. So what people are relying on is their work. And you always have to imagine, and Gloria, you have a good point there. If you need glasses and you go to the social services at your community and say, I need new glasses, or I have a toothache, I need to go see the dentist, or I have other medical problems. You always have to remind yourself that the cost, the health treatment is in general it is free, but someone has to pay for it. So it will be your neighbor, all of society. So we have what we call a solidarity system that all of us stand together to help the one in need. But this also means that basically everything you need for your life or for your medical treatment will have to be paid by someone else. And this is covered by taxes. Maybe, David, this is one thing that many of our friends in Africa do not realize, that everything of the public works, the streets, the schools, education is free in Germany, even university. So to supply all of this, we rely on taxes. So a lot of the money that David and Gloria, you made in the course of a month, it will be taken away from you by the tax system. But also this tax system will supply all of the public transport system, the education, and the police, the firefighters that I mentioned before, and the health system. So that's how we finance things over here. It's not by our resources. It's not through oil or gas that we find that God has given us. No, God has given us a head and a brain to use and strong arms and our will to really get things done. That is what God has given the people in Germany to succeed in life. And if you come here, this will be the way for you to do so too. So, my dear friends, well, maybe this is for our first session. This might be a good point to sum up and to conclude. So please let me add that it was a pleasure for me to join you, and I'm here anytime if I can contribute any further to your very noble and important cause. Thank you very much for having me on your channel.
Before you go, Dad, I have a question. Please. We, especially Africans, we get a lot of problems when it comes to saving. We see like the Germans, let me use the Germans strictly. The Germans knows how to manage no matter how life is climbing up and down every day, but they know how to, even if it's hard, but they know how to manage. So in the course of the day, they can achieve 2 times, 1 time, or after a year or 2, can even make holidays and so. But for us, we find it a little bit hard. Maybe which are the tips you can give us so that we can maybe know how we can do it or how you guys do it? Then it's a little bit easy. I know maybe there is things we are doing that are not correct, but maybe if you just give us your tips, maybe then we can be in the correct track. And another thing, what advice would you give us? We who are here, you see us, you have worked with us, you have been with us. What are the do's and the don'ts that we are doing that are making maybe our life to be a little bit not what it's supposed to be? Can I say difficult or what? Yeah, these were my 2 last questions.
Well, for the first one, dear Gloria, for your first question, I was privileged to do the job I always wanted to do. When I was a very young boy, television was coming to our homes. And I remember, these little boxes that we had and the antennas that you would need to point in the right direction to get some sort of signal. So I grew up with the television, and I saw what kind of power television had to change our life. This was very similar to what the young ones nowadays experience with the internet and social media. So for me at the time, it was television, and I wanted to be with what fascinated me. And so I became a filmmaker, and I was able to make a living. I was able to study, even go to film school here in Munich, and still I am working as a filmmaker. So my dream came true. And for me, work has always been very easy, even if it's overtime, even if it's all night through, even if you have to wait for things to happen, if things are getting difficult. But since this is my passion and great fulfillment on with regard to my professional life, for me it's not really work in the sense that I have to force myself to do it, to get up in the morning. I love my work, so I'm happy to get up to film the sunrise, and even to leave the warm bed and the warm house to do my job. So I can only recommend that you try to find out what really moves you, what you want to do, what will ignite your passion in the professional world. And as long as if you manage to go after that, then it will not be work for you. It will not be hard to do this 5 days a week and 30, 35 years of your lifetime. But of course, not everyone is as privileged as I was. And then maybe it's the money, maybe it's the friendships you can make through work, maybe it's the fulfillment you get from people that you can help through your work. So you have to look for other ways to motivate you. And yeah, but you will need to find those ways to really do a work that is not your passion, but it is possible. And we do have sort of in Germany we have a work ethic that is really like this. Even if you have to build a little piece of a car, we're living in the city where the BMW is built. Audi is not very far from here. Mercedes-Benz is 200 kilometers away, but there are people working on those factory lines, and it's loud, and it's they only do a little thing that will contribute at some point to a car that really can drive on the highway and the autobahn. But they only do this little thing, and they have to do the same thing for weeks, for months, for maybe years. So that's not easy, but they still feel like they're working in a bigger team for a bigger cause, and they go home and say, I'm proud to be part of this. And they look in the street and they see, oh, there's another BMW, and maybe this is the one I worked on too. So they find a sort of satisfaction and reward in having made a good work, in having made something that will not break when you do 200 kilometers an hour on the autobahn. So they will try to do things properly and make it as good as possible to find pride in their work and the result of the lifetime they put into this. So maybe this is something that will help you in some instances when you have doubts about whether you made the right choices and took the right path for your life.
Okay, thank you for being with us today, and we are welcome you again. Maybe in the future we'll come again and we'll talk about many things about German life. Thank you for being with us and having the good day. Guten Tag.
Thank you very much, Asante Sana.
Okay.
And greetings to all of our friends in Africa. It was a pleasure being on your channel, and I'm ready anytime to go on in this topic. It is very worthwhile, and I want to encourage you to keep up this kind of work. It is very necessary, and I'm sure not only many people will thank you for it, but also this will be rewarded by God. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.